And what she could do with a sponge was amazing. I got that. Fantastic. Let me click that. Got it. It's out of my way. My first thing is, and I think it's a big challenge, is to be honest with yourself, to have that internal conversation with you all the time, to be very honest about what's motivating you to do that, say that, think that, make that choice. So we are all in charge of what we want to do and listen, and whether we actually are very honest. I have a lot of people who come up with some very fabricated reasons for why they're not doing something, instead of going, just a bit scared, or I'm just a bit worried of making a fool of myself. So I'm a great believer that being honest with yourself doesn't mean you have to overshare everywhere you go, but just in your head can be very beneficial. I think the basics are very important. I go to bed early. I can't stay up late for a long night chat, however juicy the conversation will be, because I'm not a night owl. I'm absolutely shattered. From 2 o'clock, I'm on a steady decline, and by 9:30, I'm no use for anybody. Best I just go to bed. First thing in the morning, though, if you want a chirpy chat at 5 in the morning, I'm your man. So I think it's acknowledging when you need to sleep, thinking about drinking. We very rarely drink enough water. And when I've actually really challenged myself to drink the water I should be drinking every day, it really makes a difference. And I think it's also about thinking about what you eat. What do we fuel our bodies with? I love a load of crappy things. I was born in Grimsby. Chips were the mantra, sometimes with fish, optional, but chips and scraps were a key commodity, but not the best one for energizing your body and replenishing it with the energy it needs. Some of the challenges are accepting the past and actually focusing then on the now. I've worked with, especially on WEA courses, an awful lot of people still lamenting, going back to things that have happened in the past, things that are getting in their way, things that have caused them misery, or I can't believe that happened to me. And I think one of the biggest challenges is to find a way to acknowledge what has happened, but liberate yourself to move forward. And a lot of the WA courses I do, I try and really work and support people to do that. Not always successfully, but most of the time trying to help people find techniques to do that. Another thing is, I think it's very important to not hold back from saying and doing lovely things. Sometimes people will go, crikey, you give a compliment, the minute you say it, they're going, oh, this old thing, or I only got it for 50p from a charity shop, or, whoa, I'm doing the best I can. Hang on a minute, I'm just trying to give you a lovely compliment. I'm just trying to appreciate you. Oh, that was an amazing session you've just done that. Well, I could have been, but I think it's really important we try and just really value it when people say lovely, kind things. And I really love to say the things that in my head. If someone looks great, I like to say that to them. If I've really appreciated something, I really like to follow up and do that. I think it's a lovely thing to do, and I don't see enough of it. There's plenty of criticism to be had. There's a time for criticism, positive feedback, times to be challenged, but I think there's also times just to be valued for something lovely somebody's done or said. And so I'd really encourage you to do that as often as you can. I think it's also important to get the help and support you need when you need it. I meet a lot of people who just, I'm going to keep getting, no, I don't need support. I don't need help. When I was really struggling with my depression, I really resisted counselling. I really kept being told you really should have some counselling, and I really wasn't keen. 14 years on now, I have that as a regular thing that really enables me to have that space just to reflect on how I'm doing, share maybe my wobbles, enable me just to discuss and think about how I'm viewing the world. And I found that really useful. There's lots of support that's available, lots of support organisations, but I'm a great believer in practicing what I preach. So looking after myself, both physically and mentally. And I find that support when I need it is great. I'm regularly saying to my dad as well, should we try not trying to be a GP? Because you're not, Dad. He used to sell caravans. Or sometimes he'll suddenly become a DIY expert. He's not. I go, shall we get an expert in who knows that? So I'm a great believer in using people with the skills that they have, not trying to fudge it ourselves. I think it's very important to make time to do the things you love to do. I love doing lots of stuff, all sorts of interests and hobbies and things I love. But I think it's very important to make sure you have that time. I think it's very cathartic. Um, what can happen just from doing the things you love to do. And I think sometimes that's where the honesty kicks in as well. There's a lot of people I met who end up doing things they don't really want to do, but they didn't really like to hurt anybody's feelings by saying that. But it's all right to say there's some things you don't necessarily like to do. Compromise is a very useful tool in most friendships and relationships. But sometimes it's making sure that balance is there and the balance of what your needs are, the things you love to do as well. I think it's also important to take responsibility for yourself. And ultimately, it is down to you. It is down to each of us as to what we wish to do, to take responsibility for our actions, to say, well, that was ultimately down to me. I can't blame anybody for that. I once had the unfortunate time of working in an organisation where it was just an utter blame culture. Everything was somebody else to blame for. And it meant it was a very unsuccessful organisation because blame's not a nice thing. I think it's just about someone saying, well, I got that wrong. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I don't understand. So I think sometimes take responsibility for yourself. I love it when learners say, I haven't got a clue what you're saying. I regularly say that to people. People in meetings love to use a load of acronyms, and it's like, I'm really, really lost. I'm trying to get creative now, but I can't tie it into relevance. So I think take responsibility for yourself in what you choose to do and what you choose to be like is very important. I'd encourage you to get rid of the stuff that brings you nothing positive. Sometimes, I'm talking about people. Sometimes we can end up feeling obliged to or obligated to people that absolutely don't really give a monkey's about us. Sometimes some of the people who purport to love us can be the very people that criticize us the most and actually just somehow find joy or think they're helping us by bringing us down. My partner now just celebrates everything I love. I've got right eclectic things of things I love to do, etc. But I get loved for both the brilliant things and the things I'm rubbish at, and the things I mess up at, and the things I'm not so good at. But it's joyful. It's such a game changer. I was in a relationship for a number of years where I would be critiqued on what had I said, what had I worn, what was I listening to, why had I bought that, what was I thinking of saying that, blah, blah, blah. And only after time did I realise the negative impact that had on me. So I think it's very important to think about those people around you and what they bring to you and what you bring to them. But positive people make a real difference to your ability to be the very best that you can be and get the most every day. So I tend to not really want to spend much time with people who are really negative and nasty, and there's some horrible people out there. And I tend to just, I don't need to try and go to war with them or try and convert them to really liking me. I focus on the people that bring positivity to me. I think it's always important to try and challenge yourself to be better. I'm very, very Mr. Positive. I also worry about all sorts of ridiculous things all the time. But that's usually about, hopefully I've come across all right. Hopefully I haven't upset anybody. Hopefully I haven't. But it's constantly really, it's that drive to be the very best I can be. But it doesn't mean I'm going to achieve that every day. So it's about trying to sometimes just challenge myself, but also sometimes challenge others as well. And sometimes I think in WE8 and as tutors, we have a lot of potential power. We have the ability to really influence the setting of a room and to challenge others in their thinking and to think about what they are saying and why they said that. And I think there's a lot of lovely ways we can do that. That means a challenge doesn't have to be a negative. A challenge can be delivered with a great amount of appreciation and value and kindness built into it. I think it's important for us always to be the best that we can be. All right, get up every morning. My dad said many years ago, but then at that time I was a teenager, and to my mind, he was really old because he was in his late 30s. I've shifted that dynamic now and now think, oh my goodness me, thank goodness I am turning into my dad as I get older. But my dad said to me at that point, every morning, Chris, when I wake up in the morning and I'm shaving, I look in the mirror and I go, Tony, because that's his name, I'm going to be the very best I can be today. So come on, let's do it. And I find just that little nice setting. I mean, obviously you don't need to be shaving, you can do it while you're cleaning your teeth, whatever your option. Really is a very nice thing, a nice quick reminder just to be, come on, let's make the most. Every day is such a gift. I think it's important to apologise. I have no problem. Some people have a profound problem saying the word sorry. And I think it's really important sometimes to say, to apologise, to say sorry. But also I think it's very important if someone is apologising to you for you to listen and then accept that apology. I think forgiveness is a very important thing. I was in a meeting yesterday with somebody who treated me quite atrociously in a meeting 2 years ago. And it came to a meeting and he took the time and built up to it, but then wanted to apologise for what he treated me. And I acknowledged what he'd said. I said, yes, it did. But the loveliest thing is you're here looking at me in the face and apologising. I really appreciate that. And that means a lot. And that I felt great about it. He felt very good, and we moved on into a very positive conversation, which will hopefully move some community things forward in a very nice way. I know I was a bit cheeky at the start, said I love to talk, but listening is amazing. Listening is amazing what people will share, will reveal, will tell. I think the amount of conversation I see where there are people jumping in, talking over, not allowing people to finish, all those people who like to predict that they know where your sentence is going, or the triple yeah. And a yeah always to me means you're not really listening at all. You're just thinking, will you shut up? I want to say something. So I think listening can be great at really getting the richness from somebody and the fullness of what someone is trying to say. Empathy. Empathy. I was running a training session on Wednesday with WEA about empathy. I think it's very important if we can to really just think how somebody else may be feeling and really thinking about, if I'm going to say this, I'm going to do this, how will that affect that other person, or what might they be thinking at the moment? I think we can take that time just to imagine what it may be like. Whilst we may not have had the same experiences, we can reflect on how would we have felt in that situation, or with that happening in our lives. Can be really great at enriching and gathering that greater connectivity with other people. Don't assume. The amount of people who assume, it is staggering what people assume about you. And I always go with a very open mind, because when we assume, what we actually do in the worst case scenarios is we shut people down, we close them off, we make those wrong assumptions, which means they don't know me. Hang on, they've gone and assumed this about me. Well, that isn't me. That wasn't me. I would never. That's not my identity. So I think it's very important to never assume, but just to listen with a real open mind. The impact each of you make every day is very powerful, and it will vary in the impact it has on different people around you. And some of that will be based on the roles you have with those people, the amount of love those people have for you and you have for them, and sometimes about those level of, in terms of impact, in terms of people being able to function as a carer. You may have carers responsibilities, you may have family responsibilities, professional responsibilities, but our impact is powerful. And sometimes I forget. So sometimes when I'm bobbing about and in my head, I'm still about 15 really, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't wait for Christmas and CD box sets are coming my way, blah, blah, blah. And then I forget that I'm actually a chief exec as well. And actually for some people, they're just terrified of that, because maybe their experiences of what a chief exec is like has been really negative, or they just think, oh my gosh, Chris will know everything about everything, which I don't. So sometimes it's about being very careful about how we say things and acknowledging what that interaction is between us and somebody else, and what that power balance may be, or actually how much somebody may think of us. And sometimes we'll be aware of that. Sometimes we won't know to the extent people view us or listen to what we say. The other thing, we're nearly at the end of the list, by the way, for those of you thinking, goodness me, come on, sunshine, we've got to wrap this up by 4:30. My final 2 points. Next one is what you need and what works will constantly change. Flexibility is really important. Change is happening all around us. In a utopia, I'd be back into the mid-1980s with the money I have in my pocket now, then, so I could buy all the things. I wish I'd been able to buy them, but I didn't have the money. But I can't go back there. The world has changed, things have moved on, and they will continue to do so. But that also means what I need now, what helps me, what supports me, has changed as I get older too. And my final thing is, this isn't me saying, whoa, Guru Chris has spoken, that's what you need to do, that's what you go. It isn't. It's about thinking about what recipe of ingredients and things you need to follow will get the best for you, for the people around you, and for the people who you love and care about, and the people you work and influence with. And I think if we can really work on that together, and I think as WEA, the more we can work on those principles, it is outstanding what we can achieve. Absolutely unbelievable what we can achieve. Kindness is so vital. And I think kindness is so often underestimated, because kindness actually is hard graft. Kindness takes more time. Kindness is where you need to just give it a bit more thought, a bit more time, a bit more energy, but actually the impact is immense. So there's about 5 billion people on this course, which means we can't have just a nice group chat. And if I was trying to put you all in a circle, so you could all see everybody, which I like to do in a training session, crikey, I don't know where we'd need to base ourselves, but we'd be struggling. I don't think we'd be indoors. So with that in mind, technology has to kick in. What I'm going to be asking very shortly is we're going to be putting you in some breakout rooms in small groups. And I'd love you. You're going to have about 15 minutes to think about what I've said, if any of that has resonated with you, or what a load of rubbish he was spouting. And I'll tell you why. You may want to share your own views, your own things. Is your current recipe for life that you are following working for you? What might be missing? What's missing on my list? You might think I've got a couple of additions. But also collectively then, what I'd like you to be thinking about, if there is a question or a point that you would like to put in the chat then from your group. Because when we come back for the final 15 minutes, I'd like the opportunity just to work through, talk, feed that back to people, throw in if you've got a thought you want me to think about, or something you would really like to raise, and we'll do the best we can with the billion people that are on this course today. So I've got the delight of having an amazing assistant here who has so kindly offered to, can you put them in to breakout rooms? Would you like me to do that, Chris? I'd love you to do that. Thank you very much. Because I'm being truly honest, I don't think I really know how to. Shock, horror, gas. Because normally I have small groups when I'm on Zoom and we all just on the same screen together the whole time. So you're about to be randomly put into groups. We will bring you back at about 4:10. But have a lovely conversation with people, and I look forward to seeing you in due course. Thank you so much.
Chris, sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, thanks for this. The task sounds really interesting. How many recipes should we have per group? Sorry, I know we may not be able to quantify it because we'll all come from different perspectives and experiences, but how many would you like us to cover in 15 minutes?
Do you know what? I'd just like to have a general chat about what are the key things that are important for you. Do you agree with what I've said? Is there things missing? Is there things that you'd add in addition? So I think I'd encourage you just to talk about what's the most important thing to you, or what are the questions you'd like to, I may have thrown something you think, I think this, or I found or experienced this. It's quite a loose session, really. No one's going to get in trouble. There's no harsh rules to this. And I haven't got a chalkboard I can throw at anybody or anything like that anymore, because those days are behind us now. Hallelujah. All right, that's as vague as I want it to be, because I want it to be as broad a nice chat. This is about a positive session about what are the great ingredients for getting the best from life for yourselves. All right.
That's absolutely fine. I suspected as such. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Good suspicion. Sean, that is amazing hair. I love it. Well done. Yes, you smile away, Sean. That is brilliant. How lovely. And Joe, I love your knickknacks behind you as well. Joe, lovely collection there. Yes. Cupboard full of, yes, you point away at it. I see them.
I'm all in fact showing, yeah, that's my personality right there.
I love it, Joe. Love it, Joe.
So, you know, I'd rather have, I mean, technically I can't do the blur background because it's so complicated there anyway, but honestly, even if I could, I think that's particularly teaching history, and that's all history back there, you know.
Love it, Joe. Great stuff. I love stuff. Stuff tells you so much about people, doesn't it? It's lovely. Look at Sue Morgan in a very beige background wall there, Sue.
That
You need
also
to-
reflects my personality, doesn't it?
Oh, so give over. Give over. I'm not having that at all. Not having that at all.
I agree with you, Chris. Hi, Sue. Good to see you.
Always good to see Sue, isn't it? Sue Morgan, God bless her. Right, we're back, everybody. Now, look, everyone, we've only got about 20 minutes. So what I'd like to do is if you'd like to bob something back from your group in the chat, I've just gone through all the messages that were whizzing in as I was yakking on at the start that I'd just like to just pick up on. But then if you want to do that, that'll shape where we're going to take this conversation. Or you can put your hand up, or you can, you know, raise your handy thing, and that's always good as well. Somebody said, and forgive me, I didn't write everybody's names down on this bit, but it'll be somebody with a lovely name. We don't have sadness. If we don't have sadness, we can't recognise happiness. I totally agree. If you watch the remake of Beauty and the Beast, Celine Dion at the end sings a song where she actually sings that, really, just saying that if you don't experience sadness and loss, we don't really value the joy that life can bring. Someone else had referred to the importance of gratitude. I think that is very true. A lovely word again. We have some amazing words. Some disappointments from people about why people get certain reactions. And it is disappointing, isn't it, when you compliment somebody? Oh, what are you saying that for? I bet you say that to everybody. Oh, you just come up with things to say, don't you? I've found as I get older, I just challenge more, to be honest with you. I just do that. I go, no, really not. Sally's got this wonderful envelope strategy. I love it, Sally. I absolutely love that. I've just gone and bought from TK Maxx, because especially when they've got the yellow sticker on it, it becomes mega cheap, which is a load of lovely things to do. It's all in a box. It cost me £2. But each day I can just randomly pick one out of the box and try and apply it. So
oh,
I'm
mine
looking
doesn't even
forward to
cost me
that.
£2.
£2?
No, less than £2. Packet of envelopes, a packet of postcards.
Well done, Sally. Well done. Yes, all right, you win. John, that's fine. The last one was benefits of being older. Yes, there's so much that does come with it. And some of these elements, I think you are right. I've done a number of courses with WA over the years on confidence building, and sometimes some of these things have been more comfortable in who we are and accepting who we are, etc. I think it does come with time. And someone else, which I love, put your best pants on every day, always. Don't say, you know, when people say, I'm saving that for best, whatever that best may be, I'm thinking, sod it, I want to wear it now. Wearing it. So we've got some lovely things coming in on the chat. Let me just whiz up with my little cursor thing and we can go through some of these. Thank you so much. Lordy me, we're going to get some theories coming in now. We've got some intelligence in the room, which makes me feel just very excited, but a little bit of word met. Robert Lutchick's emotion wheel is what I was referring to. Very good. Bless you for that. I'm going to have to look up that one. No idea. Breathing, very important. Courage, make a date with yourself. Make sure you laugh every day. Yeah, well, we don't want to force it, do we? But I have been to a laughter therapy session once where they did force it at first, and it became very natural. But yes, having a chuckle, having a laugh, really cathartic, makes you feel so good. Be kind to yourself, absolutely. Don't feel guilty about having time for yourself. In screen breaks, dance to music. It's a must. It's a must. You don't want my playlist though, unless you really like 80s cheesy pop. But God bless the Nolan sisters. They've kept me going all these years. Importance of the natural world. Absolutely. I've just been part of a campaign we've been doing up in Selby with the Leisure Centre, which is a mile for me. And it's very simply just been encouraging people to walk a mile every day for the month of March. Which we've done, but on LinkedIn, if anybody wants to join me on LinkedIn, please do. We just do random shots of our feet that we've done. I mean, it'll finish today, thank goodness, of shoes, and it sort of grew a bit more, got a bit out of control. But actually, the joy of walking and just changing your scene, changing direction, can really help with thinking. Exercise as well does it. If you can do some exercise as well, the difference it makes to how your head works, how you're thinking. Sometimes I've had some real problem, because bless them, people are amazing, aren't they? But they don't have cause problems sometimes. But just to do a bit of exercise, do something different, something, oh, that's what I need to do. Oh, I think that's going to be the answer, can be really, really good. I think another thing that helps as well is not immediacy. Crikey, some people think you've fallen out with them because you didn't get back to them within 5 minutes of sending a text. You know, or hang on, what's gone on here? I had 4 kisses yesterday. You've only given me 3 today. What does that mean, Chris? So sometimes it's a bit just allowing your network as well to know you're not going to immediately respond, because sometimes you might be in a meeting or you might be asleep, or in the cinema, because they don't want you talking in the cinema, that's for sure. Kevin, let's read it. Kevin's got a short novel about kindness. Kindness is an interesting concept in that kindness to others is obviously important. We have no idea what others are going through. That's true. So kindness should come natural. Oh, hang on, I've gone and done my cursor too much and now too far. Oh, darn it. Oh, there we go. So kindness should come natural to us. However, being kind to ourselves is very important. I totally agree. Although I once worked with a very angry woman who told me she'd been on surgeonist training, which just had created her to be selfish. She was completely selfish and continued to be so for 4 years that I worked with her, which was a great shame. I think she'd missed the point along the way. So I think sometimes as well, my fear sometimes is when people go, but it's like, well, all I'm hearing is about you. There's a balance there. There's a conversation to be had. And I think taking the time in a conversation as well creates a very different energy when sometimes you see people competing over each other, which my mother did for many years. Some lovely thing, wild water swimming, just fills me with, I'm worried about bits ending up in my ears and never coming out again. Singing, lovely, a lot of choirs, especially around dementia, some amazing dementia choirs that really make a difference. Candlelit dinner for one, you go for it, Georgia, I like that. Gong a bathing, I'm intrigued. I facilitate writing for wellbeing and journaling courses, plenty of evidence about, this is so right, positive impact of creative activity on positive mental health. Absolutely. Writing can be so cathartic, or that reflection is great, and in all sorts of art forms. It's really like that. Dancing is good. I have 1 track, 1 person dance parties. Well done. I sit on a yoga ball. Shit for that, Judy. That is lovely to hear. Crikey, I don't really know how big those balls are, but that sounds lovely. If you've reached a point in your life where you're happy for whatever reason, share that happiness where you can, as it multiplies exponentially. Absolute melody. What a lovely thing to write and say. Absolutely true. It's about that impact, how you can change a culture, how you can really shift. You'd have seen it in training classes and groups as well. We can really change it by that shared harmony that can be created by a group. Message from a foodie. The key to good life is having things you love doing in between meals. Oh my goodness me, you must have met my colleague Emily. She absolutely loves it. I do have a wide collection of shoes. Yes, I do, Sue Morgan, thank goodness. But thank goodness the month has come to an end. Cold showers have been an absolute game changer for me. This is spooky. I was talking to someone in a car today who does one of those every day, and has said it for him, it makes him think, if I can do that, I can do anything today. I'd rather just talk to myself whilst I'm having a shave, I think. But each to their own, that sounds fantastic. And the Wim Hof breathing techniques. Wow. For some reason I'm thinking of David Hasselhoff, but I don't think that's what you're referring to.
Definitely
no, definitely not. Thank you for that.
But you can do it in 10 minutes, and there's a video that you can do the breathing along with the video, and it's incredibly calming. Amazing.
Fabulous. I have done, but I don't know what it means if it's got to take the turn. Just even doing that one nostril thing and then you do the other nostril and breathe through is a rebalancing of the head. It's quite, there's so many different breathing
I
techniques.
think it's called Kundalini.
Thank you. There were so many breathing techniques there. There was a whole book. I'm afraid
it's pranayama, Chris. It's pranayama techniques in yoga.
Thank you.
So many of them. I'm a yoga teacher, so I'm kind of peddling this.
Well, I'm about to go on a big yoga class for that we're trialing up here in Selby.
Amazing.
For professionals to start looking after themselves.
Brilliant.
But I've managed. I'm on the very last lot, but
Yeah.
it's been very profound, the difference it's made for
Yeah.
people. We've had GPs, nurses, different community support workers as well. And it's been
Amazing.
a great trial for a year because people
Fantastic.
underestimate that
Yeah.
to such a point. We're really trying to offer that out in a big. I've just taken a gamble and said, sod it, we'll just carry it on, even though the money will have run out, because the benefits have been absolutely outstanding.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. So well done with all of that. Because, and I can't wait to have a go myself. Lob tree. Wow, no idea. An absorbing hobby. Absolutely. Painting is possible, not relaxed with. Absolutely. So many different things. I think if I may just summarize on some of the final bits that I want to really challenge you to be, is to really think about, I'd like you all in the next week to do a surprise gesture of loveliness. What do I mean by that? I was once working with a very grumpy group of volunteers who were so grumpy, I really didn't know what else to do because they were just grumpy in life. And what I did was I just randomly came in one day. You don't need to do that. I mean, this isn't a healthy eating technique, I'm afraid. I just went in with a whole basket full of different chocolate bars, just random ones. And they were like, what's happening? What's this about? I said, well, it's just a random basket of chocolate bars. Please enjoy. I don't know what your favourites are. Led to a whole conversation about chocolate bars, what bars people were missing, what people loved in chocolate bars. And so it went on. It changed it from that point on. I mean, I won't say they weren't forever not grumpy, but the grumpiness did sort of slow down a bit, and I was able to have a conversation. Caroline Cleghorn, I love that surname. That brings joy. Caroline Cleghorn, WEA, all the way with you with your background there. I salute you. What would you like to say, Caroline?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when you said about that act of kindness, like my sister's currently on holiday, and little does she know that while my dad's been looking after her animals, I've been helping her to kind of clean things down, sort of washing out. I've brought all the washing away for her just because she's got a bit overwhelmed recently, and I just felt that it would be a nice thing to do. So although it's like a Chinese laundrette here at the moment, I feel like an echo being kind and doing a good deed. So am I like off that one because I've already done it? Do I get any brownie points?
Caroline, you get a gold star and a
Yay!
permanent sticker.
I've been
That's-
waiting for an award. That's amazing.
Oh, Caroline, you want to know how she reacts, because if she doesn't appreciate you enough with it, well, you'll have to be kind and just go, that's enough for me. But what a kind gesture. That is amazing, Caroline Cleghorn.
Caroline, I'm going on holiday soon. I live in York. Caroline.
Are you feeling overwhelmed, caller?
I'm feeling overwhelmed, and I'd love Caroline to come round.
Just call me Aggie.
Yay!
That is lovely. People, please put your hands up. What else would people like to say outside of Jacques on about rubbish? Is there any other points people would like to make, or things people would like to share, or plans they may have, like Caroline Cleghorn? There's 1 billion of us, so, you know, form an orderly queue.
Just can't live up to what I've just said, and it's just not possible for him to outdo that. But Stu's got a hand up. Let's see what she's doing.
Sue, rescue me here.
I'm not going round to Quinny's.
Welcome. The guided reading session. Relax.
Someone's playing the Wim Hof.
I think they are. I suddenly realised.
Gillian's playing this for us, are you, Gillian?
Yeah, I just saw the thing there. I thought, what is it?
Sue Morgan, you got your hand up. Is that what you wanted to say, or did you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say I wasn't going to go around to Diane's house and clean it out. It just, just letting you know, Diane, it's not.
It's not in the job description,
No,
so don't
good.
fall for that one. I did many times. Lovely. Some amazing messages there. Oh, hello. We've got a hand up for Ra Olasola. I must pronounce that right. I've probably really offended you there. How do I say it?
It's Olushala.
Olushala.
So much for a great session.
Thank
I had
you.
shared this in my first group before I got booted out into another group. But anyway, I digress. I mentioned that, and it's good to sleep. 'Cause
It
sometimes
is.
lots and lots of deadlines, and you're just kind of so worried about meeting all those deadlines that your work. I'm actually speaking from experience here. I do this a lot, and I know I shouldn't. And getting that nice work-life balance helps. I actually read this in my devotional today, so I know that that is a sign that I need to get more sleep in. And I was just saying to myself that I can drop some priorities and be a better person for it by actually getting more sleep.
Please have a lovely sleep. Please. I mean, one of the best sleeps I had, which I've now decided must have been a premonition, was where I managed to get ABBA back in a recording studio. But lo and behold, it happened. Can't believe it. Absolutely joyful. Thank you for that. Sleep is important, and sometimes we end up with people go, I'm going to work all through the night to get all these things done, and it's never. Well, I've never been able to do that, as you know. I can't. I'm done by 9:30. But quite often it's just not productive. Our time is nearly at an end, folks. So just thank you for taking part. It's never easy a full day in and out on Zoom, but I'd just like you to just embrace life, to celebrate who you are, bring that joy into whatever your role is within WEA, which is a phenomenal organisation. We have that power and that opportunity to really bring joy. If you are feeling constantly dragged into moaning, etc., think about what it is, what needs to change. I meet a lot of people in employability classes that we do, and they're not happy in their job. Well, leave then. Find a plan, find a way out. Don't just sit there moaning every day. Think about what do you wish to do. And I'm a great believer in that. Volunteering as well. Volunteering should be joyful. If you're in a volunteering role and you're not enjoying it, change, move on. I've just resigned from something because the joy had gone. But I'm still volunteering elsewhere. Melody, I love that name. Melody Fraser, what have you got to say, Melody?
I've got to say, be the change you want to see. Be the change. Instead of moaning about it, do the thing that's going to make that change. If you
Come
can.
with an accent as well, Melody. What a lovely accent. That's joy in itself. Absolutely, it's taking that control. Changing that. Don't wait for others to do it for you. They're not going to. They're wrapped up in what they're cooking for tea. John, what do you want to say, John? We've lost him. Where have you gone, John?
You're on mute, John.
Yeah, you're on mute, John.
Sorry. Yeah, we said focus on what you can change and not what you can't.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot we can do. There are some things we can't, but there's no point yakking on about them, is there? Absolutely, John. Beautifully said. It is nearly past, folks, and I'm a great stickler for finishing on time. If you're on one of my courses, we never go over, and we never start late either, though, just so you know. I'm very aware Diane Quinney is in the room. She needs to know that, as does Sue Morgan. Thank you for joining me for this hour. If you ever want to connect, I'm on LinkedIn. Please do. Chris Haley Norris, up for Yorkshire. But always supporting and yakking on about WEA as well. If I can ever be of any assistance with anything, or if you ever want to just have a chat about something or share a top tip, we should, and we should share that with everybody. There's some great things for people to get the most out of life, but it all starts with ourselves and what we can do. Thank you for sharing some of your backgrounds as well. Well done. Mine's a bit of an eclectic mix back there, but they've been quiet. They haven't joined in and interrupted, so that's the main thing. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, whatever you're doing. And if you like chocolate, it's Easter, eat more. If you don't like chocolate, don't have any. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you so much.